Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Now that you've made it this far with me on the podcast, it is my goal to take you into yet unseen realms of existence that await you in this fourth density potentiality that exists. Right now, as I speak with you, we are interacting in a fourth density potentiality. It appears that you're in a third density environment. When you look around, it's just like it was every single day. But there is a light and a potential available in which your heart is opened and you enter into an entirely different level of consciousness. We exist now in fourth density potentiality. And while you may not be able to access all of its many complexities while in third density, many of the elements of consciousness from that realm bleed through into our third density life. What we know is that this light, this fourth density light, is available freely to anyone and everyone right now. It is right there with you, waiting for your permission. It is love, maximized. It is you. It is time to activate this potential. You are constantly being given unique ways to access this light. When you begin to shift your light and replace it with this new light, you become more and more aware of differing aspects of yourself and the universe around you. One aspect of this is your higher self. The higher self, according to Ra, exists billions of years in the future and represents you with full knowledge of all your previous lives. Then in seventh density, you meet a quantum higher self, which knows all of your multiversal selves and all the unlimited possibilities in your multidimensional reality throughout time. This has been a natural outgrowth for me in exploring parallel realities, as I discussed in my first book, The Reality Revolution, the mind-blowing movement to hack your reality. And as I did this, more and more I realized that I needed to interface and connect with my higher self, which had ultimate control in how I shifted into these realities. Sal, Rochelle, Quo, and Ra explain that much of what is about to happen is that the higher self will become an entity that you can regularly communicate with. This is from the future, with the complete ability to change the timeline. Your higher self interacts with you now, behind the scenes, but it never violates your free will. This self guides your intuition. Soon, you will have the ability to meet and talk to your higher self. I have done this, and this episode is to share what my higher self has told me as we move into the age of fourth density. I write about this, and I'm reading some of these words from the book that I have not published. Many people have had the opportunity to read it, as I've sent it out with my newsletter a few times. But I explain in that book that one morning, like any other, I awoke to the day taking a deep breath and feeling a presence, an awareness that is not a usual part of everyday consciousness. This awareness was so vast that I stood in tears at the sheer immensity of it. The vast plan of the cosmos given to me, the beginnings of time, the first planets. I sat for hours and hours of meditation and saw the vast cosmic epic story of the galaxies. I had the answer to all the questions. I was denied nothing. Every question was fully explained. It was shown to me. It was much too complex to understand, but I understood it in that moment, completely and perfectly. I was a field of intermingling sacred geometries of individualized intelligences of light. I was the universe. I was all of life from beginning to end. I've attempted to channel my higher self in live settings, at the RealityCon event, and at times it did not feel like my authentic higher self was coming through, or bits and pieces were coming through. It is by choice of my higher self that I have these experiences. Yet I forget most of what I experience when it's done. When you have those higher level experiences, oftentimes it's very hard to remember and bring them with you back into regular consciousness. I've tried to record the experience in journals, but it often does not make sense to me. This experience came after performing a banishing ritual in my office on a regular basis over a period of years. This is the ritual known as the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. You can find that in my episode on the banishing ritual. It is referenced in the Law of One material as a ritual that they use prior to channeling Ra. At the beginning of the ritual, you pull a cape over your head, enveloping you as your higher self. This is at first meant to be symbolic, but I began to feel a real presence as I pulled what felt like a blanket or ceremonial robe over my head. I had done the ritual when I was introduced to it by Israel Regardie in his discussion of the Golden Dawn, and by Dion Fortune in her amazing classic Psychic Self-Defense, and I had experienced different effects based on the nature of the ceremony and the odd possibilities of the initial name in the ceremony, Yahweh, Yod-He, Vav-He, and Yehovah. Ra advised the group channeling to use Yod-He, Shin, Vav-He. You can find the best description of this on LL Research's website when they talk about the banishing ritual. I've felt this presence several times before. It comes and goes at its own whim. I find often I am closest to the higher self while in the shower, meditating, or while hiking in nature. Many times my wife has come in while I'm showering saying, "Who are you talking to?" And I don't have words to explain it to her. I just try to explain to her that yes, there is a conversation going on. Those experiences are spiritually anchored for me into higher level events of consciousness in my youth. I spent many days camping with my dad, and those hikes were amazingly spiritual due to the beauty, and doing it again and again, I felt this same connection. You may have something spiritual to you. It can be anything. But those moments can temporarily tie you to higher density energies, and you can use them to climb into higher moments. You are anchored by a variety of states. Start to number them. They are infinite. The fewer observers involved, the stronger the fourth density light. I believe that's why you find this connection more deeply in nature. I began to do the invoking form of the ritual that activates these energies. The apprentice must learn to protect himself before using these energies, as they are of a much greater amplitude. Greater caution is necessary here, but worth it when beginning the process of connecting to the higher self. In these moments, all is before me. The answer to any question, why am I here? What am I here to do? The answer is always that I am free. You are free. That is the essence. If I were to advise the best step-by-step process for meeting your higher self, it would be to begin talking to it. They always hear you. Of course they do. They remember everything. They are you in the future. They remember everything. They are you millions and billions of years into the future. The you that has experienced all of your incarnations and learned all the lessons. Ra explains that at 6.5 density, even those of negative polarity can go no further, and all eventually choose the light and choose service and become positively polarized. Eventually, all souls have a higher self. Adolf Hitler had a higher self. He might not have been communicating with it, but it was always there, guiding him. Think through this mind-blowing reality. If this is true, it means we exist in a time loop, and we as our higher selves went back in time to relive our entire lives again. The higher self is left as a copy. The real you then moves on into the higher densities. We exist in a time loop with interdimensional higher selves with full knowledge of everything that has happened, even in multiple realities at the same time. This is a mind-blowing fact that right now you have access to this higher self that has a knowledge of everything that will happen for you. But the higher self has its own motivations in the information that it reveals to you, because you're here to learn lessons. As we learned in a previous episode, where Quo, who is also including Ra, states that this density is about catalyst. It's about experiencing these moments that bring up lessons that we choose to learn before we ever come here. And the higher self is a part of this programming process. In the Law of One material, number 36.7, they state that the higher self aspect is aware of the lessons learned through the sixth density. The higher self is like the map in which the destination is known. The roads are very well known. These roads being designed by intelligent infinity working through intelligent energy. The higher self can program only for the lessons and certain predisposing limitations if it wishes. The remainder is completely the free choice of each entity. An interesting side note, in the Law of One material, it claims the higher self has its own body. So right now, in its own body is the higher self. It's not some floaty cloud of energy, but it has its own physical vehicle. Now, I'm not saying that you have to believe in the Law of One material. I'm saying that this material was a catalyst for me in understanding this connection that I started to have with this intuitive voice that was in my mind, that was communicating through me and continues to do so. I've encountered the quantum higher self, and I attempted to guide people into this state in my meditation on meeting your quantum higher self, a journey through infinity. One of my first meditations. This is a version of the higher self that the higher selves connect to that exists in a multiverse, where the higher self from each timeline connects with one overarching higher self. When I experienced this, it was so mind-blowing. My life has never been the same. There is a recording of all the realities ever lived by your soul within this quantum higher self. It's where true infinity and creator meet. This is the place where you break through the imprint of the individual soul into the one true soul. You are all the souls. You are the soul. It is only you. The solitary soul is you. You are breathtaking. I've yet to truly meet you, but I feel the imprint of the waves in the sea of light of your presence. I feel the earthquake in my heart of your utterances. I see your dance in the stars and images of remnants past. The Bible tells us that everything has already been. That which has been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and God requireth that which is past. I understood this verse when I saw the infinite histories my quantum higher self had tasted. All of time had played out before. Many of the science fiction novels of my youth were actually quite real. Most stories in all of science fiction were true to me in different galaxies, infinite stories, infinite variations, intelligent infinity dancing with itself. Each of us begins to form a relationship with the higher self as we move into fourth density, as they are not as limited as they are in third density, and that is an aspect of what we're experiencing in this new shift that people are not talking about. It's the big aspect. The higher self is the teacher. You time traveling back to you to teach you the way. You must understand how to communicate with your higher self. There are rules in the initial contact with your higher self. They will not violate your free will. They know everything. They see through all your bullshit. They are patient. They are kind. They're perfect. They will appear when you are genuinely ready for the experience. Remember, they know everything. Meeting your higher self should be like a Rocky montage. You have to run the steps. You will have to conquer your limits to reveal your limitlessness. I dare say we've all heard a voice speak to us at different times, fully formed thoughts that enter your head, revealing some sort of truth. I started to receive these bits and pieces when I would ask my higher self for information. Fully formed packets of information that were so shocking that a part of me just simply thought that I had created the whole thing. You can do this too. You can begin to have conversations with your guides and higher self. There are levels to your revelations. For some, the higher self has to hide in the corner and just give you a tiny drip more of light each day to keep you alive, because you are desensitized or unable to move beyond the dweller at the threshold, incapable of looking beyond the veil, locked in your third density program. There is, in fact, a universe available to you, from angels to higher density beings to guides and elementals. They can communicate with you in a variety of ways. Some have reported unique smells. Some have seen spirit animals. Others see odd coincidences that seem to be communicating a message. Everyone can access guides, and in some instances, a guardian angel that is different from your higher self. In most cases, as Ra and Quo explain, you can access 3 guides. One is feminine, one is masculine, and one is androgynous. For most people, they never hear these voices or see the corresponding signals being sent by these entities. All of these are available to you. An entire universe of entities are available to channel through you. There's so many great channelers, and we can have a whole other episode on channelers like Bashar, Abraham, and Ra and Quo. This is the technique that I use that worked for me. You go into meditation, you relax, and activate your chakras by placing your attention on each of your energy centers. When you get to the third eye, you shrink down and into the crystal that is in your pineal gland. There is a room there. I find it there in my imagination when I do this process of shrinking down and then going to this crystal. I don't know why. You may find some other way of accessing this, but I have found I can enter into consciousness, and there is a doorway into the higher selves and other selves. So I made it my intention. So make it your intention to meet and talk to your higher self. Start with that. State with intention, it is my intention to meet and communicate with my higher self. Guide me to purify my heart and earn the right to share your presence. This does not violate my free will. I ask to meet you. Guide me. Let your will be done. Now visualize a bright ball of light above your crown. While you do, imagine a ball of energy below yourself. You may see it in many different colors. This is your ego, your conscious personality shell in third density. Circulate the light up the right side of your body and move it into the higher self. Then see the energy move through this ball of light and move down to your left side. Oftentimes this ball that I find below me, that is my ego self, is black, and I circulate it. I do this several times until both balls of light are the same color, a bright white light. I'm taking my higher self energy and cleansing my ego, my personality. And you watch the sphere of light above your head go down the right side of your body and up the left. You then see the ball of light of your higher self move in front of you and take the shape of a body. Sometimes you'll see a man, sometimes a woman, sometimes neither, sometimes only words. Each time it has been reported to be different. Now sit and ask your higher self questions that come to you. Write down the answers. There's a whole bunch of other ways to connect to the higher self. That's one that I regularly use. Soon, when you make it your intention and you work on this on a regular basis, you will be talking to your higher self, and you will know it's your higher self, and you will be talking to your higher self all the time. You won't even need to meditate. You'll be in constant communication with your higher self, and you will be guided into many wonderful journeys once you begin to establish your relationship. This is an aspect of the New Earth fourth density environment that you're in right now. Upon daily meditation and deep contemplation, my higher self has revealed amazing truths and revelations whenever I asked. I've asked my higher self to help me with this episode, as I did with my book, and these are the revelations I was given. Who are you? I am your higher self. I'm you from your future. I remember living your life. I remember all of our lives. I'm really only a copy of you that you left behind before moving into seventh density. You left the full memory of all of your experiences, thoughts, and teachings over billions of years. My purpose is to improve those timelines with my knowledge and be an aid to you in perfect ways, and only as long as it is by your choice and free will. I'm only here to serve. So then I ask, are you saying your intention is to change the past? There is no past, only now. Now reaches out into all of what you know as time. All of time exists at once. An easier way for you to understand this at your level of growth and technology is an advanced, unlimited computer operating system running all games at once. So then I asked, do we live in a simulation? My higher self says yes, as you understand it. You live in a complex, expanding simulation. It is monitored, controlled, and changed by an advanced intelligence that is not an artificial intelligence as you would understand it, but very similar. Yet, it was not ever created. It always has been. The computer and programming as you know it in your time is only an expression of the programmer's consciousness reflected in the environment protocols of the program. You exist as a singularized consciousness within a vast simulated multiverse. You exist outside of this simulation as well. You are playing a very advanced game in order to expand your consciousness into a new way of living. Fragments of your consciousness programming and your soul matrix have existed throughout infinity. You've always been a variable within the program. Your creator wants to pull you out of the program into another, more advanced simulation. There does exist a place outside of the simulation. You exist in both. Within the simulation, you exist in all things. Outside of it, you do as well. You are the programmer. You chose to take a piece of yourself and put yourself in a specific time and place within the simulation. The word simulation is only used for you to understand based upon your current level of technology and development. The one known as Paramahansa Yogananda referred to it as a movie, for that was the best way for him to explain it. There are advances in technology and advances in consciousness that move beyond an understanding and idea of simulations. But this is the best way for you to understand it now at this time. So then I asked, what is the new earth? My higher self explained that the new earth is the next level of the simulation, as you like to call it. There's a natural progression within the program you created. You have to reach a level of consciousness and your matrix has to resonate with this new program. This is a new level of consciousness. There are additional senses that come into play. You have access to all the memories of your past lives as well as the past lives of others. In order for the simulation to properly run, you must make a choice where you want to go in the simulation. You can choose love of other selves or love of self. The way you choose to express this life guides you into different realms dedicated to worlds that resonate with love of self and love of other self. Right now, for a brief moment in this third density world, you are in a simulation in which you are given different experiences that catalyze you into a choice between love of self or love of other self. Each choice guides your path. You are in a very specific time in which the veil of the subconscious mind and veil between realities is slowly lifted. You are slowly being given access to your new senses. This results in much change. I then asked, what kind of a world is Earth? My higher self explained that Earth is one of a plethora of similar planets within your illusion. The Earth is making its choice now. Of the many variable outcomes available in the quantum network, it is likely to be a planet dedicated to the service of others. There are forces at play within your timeline that wish to push the Earth into a service to self planet. So then I asked, aren't you concerned that changing time has negative consequences? My higher self then said that time evolves. Every individual has their own higher self changing their past and future. The simulated multiverse has all possible events in the information field. The system is designed to improve each timeline, evolving them by going back and changing it. I then inquired, what advice do you give for those going through this transition to the new earth? My higher self simply said, embrace the complexity of love. Love is the key to all things you are experiencing. It is much more nuanced and powerful than you are currently aware. The world is about to experience a quantum shift in the global consciousness. The multiverse will be accessed. For some, this will have frightening implications. For others who embrace this change and complexity, a great number of tools become available. So I asked, what do I need to know in this transition? And my higher self says, there is nothing you need to know. You know all things. You will learn what you need to know when you know it. Be open to what is new. Love will guide you into your perfect knowing. I then pondered, what do I need to do if I choose to be of service to others? My higher self simply said, you need to serve. Ask to serve, be open to serve. Follow the guidance of the signals of your heart. Your heart will lead the way. The most important thing to do is to make the choice. Choose to be of service to others, to give love to others. The simulation is designed to give you experiences and situations which will allow you to give love. Once you make your choice, new programs will begin to run. The choices you will make will often be more and more subtle as you perceive the full implications of the power of your love in each moment. Be love. That is what you need to be. There is nothing you need to do, just be love. So then I often think about the unknown history of our solar system. Please tell me everything that you can that has happened in our past. My higher self then stated that, to begin with, there is no one history. You coexist with entities that share a variety of different histories. I will speak of the history of the reality you find yourself within now. This solar system is fairly new among the many solar systems in the galaxy. Each of the celestial objects within its confines is alive and conscious. Each planet is alive and conscious, branching off from the sun to explore the many densities of light available within this playground of the spheres. This is similar to many of the other solar systems. Each solar system is crafted and shaped by a race in which that is their specialty. Each planet has their own histories, and most have hosted various forms of life. The infinite nature of life and consciousness within the one thought of the Creator is the most amazing aspect of this creation. Life creates new forms of life, infinitely expanding in complexity and variation. As opposed to other galactic cycles, this one's focus is the infinite. Infinite forms, infinite life, infinite levels of consciousness are expanding infinitely at the most microscopic levels and the most macroscopic level. We are but tiny atoms within the universal body of God. We are but microscopic in this octave. I have witnessed and tasted all of these realms, and I hold a record of it all. Once you had experienced it all and risen to the next level in which there is no polarity but the positive polarity, at that point you create a copy of yourself to go back and aid yourself in your journey through the densities of experience, completing the circle. Each sphere in your solar system is created with the intention of raising conscious fragments into the 6.5 density. The most difficult transition is from 3rd to 4th density. Your solar system holds evidence of this multiple places. There are planets still unseen by your scientists and astronomers. On Mercury's shadow, life began to stir. Many planets have changed their orbits. Venus has been one of the most advanced and unique spheres in your solar system's history. It has advanced to mid-6.5 density, transitioning to living on the sun. All you see are rays of light in their presence as a 3rd density being. They have played a significant role in all of Earth's history. Maldek, a planet now seen as the asteroid belt, was quite advanced in technology and consciousness, but much more polarized with extremes in polarity. Maldek destroyed itself, and many of the souls from this planet were tangled in a void for hundreds of thousands of years. Many of those living on Earth reincarnated from that event. This is quite unusual because, in most cases, entities can retain knowledge for extended periods, but the memories were lost for many due to the nature of the planet's destruction. Following Maldek's collapse, the planet Mars developed and evolved to another level of consciousness very similar to Earth's. Those on Mars restricted their emotions and in their logic destroyed their planet using weapons similar to your nuclear weapons. Many of those entities were brought to the Earth to continue their reincarnation cycle. Due to this combination of incidents, the Earth became an opening for those of other solar systems who have suffered similar results of planetary destruction. As of your time, there are entities from 23 different planetary systems. This unique mix of entities has created an unusual experiment on Earth. As you move into the 4th density of the new Earth, the veil covering the subconscious mind is lifted. For many, this will result in an intensification of behaviors and energies that occurred on those other planetary densities. From the beginning, Saturn has been the ruling sphere in this system, working in conjunction with the Sun to formulate the archetypes and operating system within this realm of creation. Saturn is of 8th density. Saturn has advanced to 8th density. On Saturn's rings, you will find the Council of Nine mentioned in the Law of One. The Council of Nine are essentially the reality programmers for this system. Saturn can control the reflected light of the sun. Saturn uses the moon and its creation of its rings. It interacts with the light of the moon to create the illusion or simulation you are experiencing at the moment. This is designed to create a catalyst and pull you through the 3rd density into the 4th. Everything happening to you is designed to essentially speed up the process of evolution in consciousness. There is life developing on Uranus that is amazingly unique, and Neptune has histories of several advanced civilization within its spheres and on its moons. Jupiter was created as a part of the Sun. The Sun exists dually in consciousness within Jupiter and on the Sun. If you look closely at what you might refer to as the bottom of Jupiter, you will see a massive organic mass that is an incredibly powerful entity. At the appropriate advancement in the solar system, Jupiter will become a star. When one sees binary star system, it is a signal of that system's evolution. I was blown away by this, and so I asked, what is going to happen if we shift into 4th density? My higher self explains, you will see great change. This is normal. Much of what you know will change in the world. There are 2 timelines you can choose to enter. All realities are available to you. Some will shift into a service to self-reality. Others will shift into a service to others' world. Each carries a different vibration. Each carries its own drama. The earth will face great change and upheaval. The veil of forgetting will crumble. The spiritual eye will collectively open. You will see unusual energies and entities, spirits, thought forms, elementals, and all sorts of unusual phenomena will become visible with your eyes. You'll begin to see, hear, and feel the thoughts of those around you. Those around you will become aware of your thoughts as well. At first, this will create chaos. There are forces in play that are aware of these changes. They will try to stop it or use it to their advantage. This will cause disruptions in every aspect of life. There is nothing to fear with these changes, as they will offer opportunities to grow and serve. Thoughts will become things much faster than before. For those who have not become aware of the causative aspect of their thoughts, it will create disharmony. Fears will create. Those caught in fear will increasingly see their fears take hold. Love will create. Those caught in love will increasingly see their love take hold. This is a natural, expected phenomenon, and all on the planet at this time came here to experience this. You are experiencing it now. So then I asked finally, what should I do? My higher self simply said, there is no should. You are now being given a choice. You choose each moment and with each breath between love of self and others and fear. You'll be guided by your choices, and you will know what to do with each breath as you make your choice. These are but a few of the things that my higher self has told me. I still question where these thoughts and ideas are coming from. I do not claim to channel, as this feels it is coming from within me and is personal yet unique. You can access this part of yourself simply by intending to do it, and you will gain greater wisdom, and it will guide your intuition in this process. I have been given some answers to questions that are so mind-blowing and amazing, and then I've sat down to write them down, and it's just too complex, too crazy, and too bizarre. And then they slowly fade away, and I can't remember them. The one phenomenon I've found is that oftentimes the answers I'm given simply go away. I do not remember them an hour later, but I'm given the answer right then. I do believe that the higher self has control over what I remember and can't. So we're going to be making some changes on this channel due to a variety of reasons, including copyright policies by YouTube and other things. I'm going to start doing some more channeling with my higher self. I'm going to start asking questions of my higher self. And to finish this, I am asking you. If you have questions that you want me to ask my higher self, I will be happy to ask my higher self. I can't guarantee that I'll get an answer. Sometimes I hear nothing but silence. But if I do hear something, I will come back and share it with you. So in the comments, and I'll be reading all the comments like I always do, please ask any question that you want. Any question. In the process of writing out your question, you may find that your higher self begins to communicate with you. There is a resource within you that knows the answer to all things. I do believe that we're connected to the Creator and that the higher self is the beginning step to that ultimate connection. And many times beyond the higher self, I've felt this connection of the Creator coming through, and there are levels to this. And of course, we are all one. And my higher self is your higher self. We're all one. But we're going through a process of moving towards that oneness that may take billions of years. And that is the process that we're going through now, and this is just a part of it. If you've communicated with your higher self, I want to hear about it. Tell me about your own experiences and what you've learned. Write down the answers that you've been given from your higher self in the comments. I believe when we share this information, more and more stuff starts to come out, and we start to remember answers we've already been given in some cases. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.